Within us, stronger is the one who fights for us. He will never fail. He will never fail. Sing out tonight. Oh, your love endures forever. Oh, your love endures forever. Open up our eyes, surround us with your light. Your love endures forever. Greater is the one who's in us. Greater is the one who calls our name. He will never fail. Stronger is the one within us. Stronger is the one who fights for us. He will never fail. He will never fail. Oh, your love endures forever. Oh, your love endures forever. Open up our eyes, surround us with your light. Your love endures forever. Mighty is the one who's for us. Mighty is the one who's strong to save. He will make a way. He will make a way. Oh, your love endures forever. Oh, your love endures forever. Open up our eyes, surround us with your light. Your love endures forever. Our God is fighting for us always. Our God is fighting for us always. Our God is fighting for us always. We are not alone. We are not alone. Our God is fighting for us always. Our God is fighting for us always. Our God is fighting for us always. We are not alone. We are not alone. For your love endures forever. Oh, your love endures forever. Open up our eyes, surround us with your light. Your love endures forever. Amen. All right, ready to do one more? Everybody happy to be here today? Say amen.
Amen.
All right. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Holy, holy is He. Sing a new song. Just like me, but I really need to break it. You know, I was growing mine out. I guess my
Good morning.
I don't guess I've ever seen it, but now I like it.
Yeah, I listen to you every morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good. How you doing? Good. Where's your brother at? That's all right.
No, I really think it's got longer than January.
Good morning. I did 2 times.
Maybe good to see you this morning. Hey, how are you, mate? When did John get took back?
Hi, dude. How you doing?
Now he's going to
Good morning. Well, good morning. How are you doing? Guys, how you doing?
All right, good morning, good to see you. It's always good to see and enjoy some time of fellowship with one another. We'll go ahead and begin this morning. Have several things that we want to do this morning. Kind of a little different, changing our service up just a bit, and then I want to take today just to kind of talk to you about a few things as it relates to ministry and this year. So let me just remind you of a couple of announcements. We'll be taking up our morning tithes and offerings in just a moment. Let me mention just a couple of things. One, this month, in just a few weeks away, actually it's going to be in February, we're going to have a church fellowship. I believe it's on February the 7th. I'm calling Soup Bowl Sunday. That is on Super Bowl Sunday, but it's going to be just a soup fellowship, and right after service, so we want you to plan to bring your finest pot of soup, all right? And we're just going to have a time of fellowship. We may make a little bit of a game out of it. We're working on that, but always trying to find ways just for us to enjoy some time together, so we want you to think about that as well. Then also, I want to just mention to you again about our Christmas offering. I know that Christmas is past, all right? And you're thinking, Christmas offering, it's already January. But we said at the very beginning, Christmas offering would go through the month of January, and our goal is $1,500. And you have already done a great job in giving, and we've already been able to minister to a couple of those needs. As I mentioned, the three things that we were doing was feed, a homeless shelter here in McKinney, but also a needy family, and then Home Missions, North American Ministries. So I've asked Taylor to come kind of give an update. Christmas, we've been able to help feed and a needy family. She's going to update us on that, and then we'll take up our offering in just a minute. So come on, Taylor, and share with us.
Well, we've done a lot of things, I guess, because I was up here speaking last. Several women were able to wrap the gifts that the money was used for to purchase for Jenica, the mom of the 2 young boys. So I got a message from her that was just wonderful. You know, maybe sometime I'll print that out so everybody can see it. Just what a blessing Christmas was for her, because she had completely come to terms that they weren't having Christmas, and she was at peace with it. It was perfectly okay. Her boys are tiny; they're not going to remember. One's not, one's 7 months old, one's 19 months old. But the fact that she was able to have probably one of the best Christmases she may ever have, because of Clearview, was just unbelievable. So. And an update on Logan, he actually goes in, he was scheduled for heart surgery last week and it was postponed because there was a more severe emergency that required his pediatric cardiology team. So his surgery was postponed and it is now tomorrow at 11. So if you want to set a reminder in your phone or something, maybe about 10:45 to stop and say a little prayer for him, for his mom, and for the medical team. This is a pretty big surgery for a tiny guy who's not very strong. So what they're hoping this surgery does is solve some of his pulmonary issues so that he is able to get his oxygen levels up and get stronger and go home. Because he's been there almost 8 months now. So they are ready to have their family under one roof. One other thing that we are talking about doing for that family is coordinating some help with the parking. I think I mentioned it before, it's very expensive to park at Children's in Dallas. It's about $20 a week or $80 to $100 a month, depending on how many weeks are in the month. And so right now that kind of cash is almost impossible for her since she's not working. So we're going to try to work towards helping with her parking for a few weeks and see if we can ease that burden a little bit for her. As far as feet goes, Jude and I actually went yesterday to purchase 3 more sets of shelves, and we purchased 10 clear bins with lids and 10 small ones for batteries and such to get this really organized. And now we'll be able to create a center aisle in the storage unit. It's a very small space. It's hard to picture 2 aisles, but we're going to make it happen. Because a huge influx of donations came in recently. I think there were some people who gathered things for the tornado victims, but those ministries had received everything they needed, and so they had this abundance of blankets and warm jackets and things like that. And Elaine was able to get some of those. People were looking for a place in McKinney to donate, and she will always take the items, especially now that we have a way to get them organized and get them out to everyone. And so we are building those shelves. It's possible that Emmy, the girl who is helping organize that storage unit, they may go build the shelves today, she and her husband. And then the greatest need right now is manpower. So there are boxes of donations. We got it all organized, and then all of these donations came in. So now it's like we have to sort through men's large coats, sleeping bags, batteries, toiletries, and get them organized on the shelf so that when she finds a person in need, she can quickly go in and say, here, I need these 5 things, and I need a sleeping bag, and she can do that in an efficient way so that she can help more people. And those funds, we have just about used our Christmas fund for that. There may be a few other little items to be purchased, but we have transformed that storage unit. I mean, the first time I went over there, it was just a pile of trash bags, really. And now it is organized shelves that are labeled, and now we're going to have clear bins. They've had a problem with flooding. It's a much older storage unit. So building the shelves, which have a little bit of space off the floor, and then putting the items in those clear bins, salvages all of the items that would normally be damaged. So we have made a huge difference there. Like, I'm really excited, and we will probably maybe think about next weekend, and if people want to come help, please message me, text me, message me on Facebook, and I'll try to get a time together, maybe a Sunday afternoon, maybe a Saturday morning, figure out what works best for everybody. And if there were 5 or 6 of us, we could bust that out in 2 hours, no problem, and it would be complete. So I think that's really our only need that's left, but I just am grateful for the opportunity to help facilitate these, because I get to witness the change firsthand, and it's just so inspiring. So thank you so much for giving. It is making a huge difference in the community.
And let me just add to that, thank you, for giving. Let me just kind of mention, this morning, I'm going to kind of take a few minutes and just kind of talk to us before we get into the message about this coming year, maybe some things that I'm planning on focusing on that I want you to be aware of. But let me just mention that aspect of ministry. One of the things that I want us to do this year is be more intentional and more focused to ministering to those in need. Now, I got to tell you, that can be a challenge here in McKinney, Texas. This is an area of influence and lots of stuff, but sometimes we get caught up in that and we don't realize there are a lot of hurting people and needy people right in our area. And so this year, actually, at the end of this past year, I have talked to Taylor and Sarah and my wife about heading up a group that will kind of be responsible in the eyes of outside ministry, just meeting the needs of people. And so they're going to kind of be looking at that. I want you to be thinking about getting involved. I want us to be more than just giving to it, more than just kind of putting in a check. I really, as Taylor mentioned, kind of using some time to go actually put feet on the ground in the areas of ministry and do those ministries. Just a week or so ago, I actually wrote an article for our denominational magazine, One Magazine, about this particular area, something the Lord's been kind of working in my life. Significant ministry is what I was calling it. And it's actually about that idea of Jesus talking about, I was hungry and you fed me, I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink, and I want our church to be that type of church. I know yesterday, David, thank you for David, he actually went out. Bethel shared this week about a family who lost everything in a house fire. And David was gracious enough to go out and just kind of help put some things together. I want us to be able to be aware of those needs. So, there's a lot of needs. And when we all begin to look, we may not be able to do everything for every one of those, but we can do more. So I want you to really be praying about that and looking at that as well. I tell you what I want us to do. I want our ushers to come forward, and Truett's going to come as well. And during the offering, we're going to do something a little different and share a little bit about some things that are going on that I want to challenge us to do this year. But by way of prayer request, we want to remember feet. We want to remember those needs. And Jenica and her family, as Taylor mentioned, we want to pray for them. We want to pray for this family. And Anna, Bethel, give me their, or one of y'all give me their names again. Do you remember their?
It's Pegram. P-E-G-R-A is their last name. And it's Melissa, not Anna.
Okay, Melissa, all right. The Pegram family, let's remember them. And this time, pray for those that are traveling. David and Kathleen are traveling today. He's away in a service, so pray for them. Others are out. Pray for my son Joshua as he's traveling back to Nashville today. Let me just ask you, you may have a special need or request that we want to pray for this morning. Anybody have one that we want to mention? Yes, Beth.
A friend of mine is on his way to Honduras for a week, and they're finishing up a 6-year project on this building. And so we've got a big team. They're going to be working on that this spring.
All right. Pray for this missions endeavor, one of Beth's friends, as he leads a team to Honduras. Any others? All right. Bethel.
Carol Testerman is having her elbow replacement
Wednesday. Yeah.
Wednesday.
Thank you for reminding us of that. Remember Jim and Carol Testman. Carol's having surgery, a elbow replacement this coming Wednesday morning. So let's remember her, and not only the surgery, but the recovery time. Not only them, but continue to pray for Beth and Daryl as they will have a lot of extra responsibility in the process of that. Any others? let's go to the Lord in prayer. As we go to the Lord in prayer over offering this morning, David, would you lead us in prayer?
Father, thank you that we can come together and worship you in this place. That we can come and hear from your word without fear of punishment for that. God, you know all our needs, God, and I ask that you would meet the needs in this church family and as well in the community around us, God. You ask that you would do with Carol this week as she gets that surgery. She's darker, give the surgeon precision and wisdom, sure for swift healing. God, we just thank you for your grace in our lives. Thank you for the way that you bless us, God. So as we take this offering, God, I ask that you would use this to advance your kingdom, that you would use this to bless others as well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. While they're taking up the offering, I want to share a few things with you. Truth's going to come in just a minute and join me up here. But at the beginning of the year, one of the things that I always try to do is begin to look at our ministry. And also, let me just mention something I failed to mention, and I believe it was on the slides here. We're making a couple of adjustments this year. Some have mentioned to me as it relates to our giving. We're making some adjustments with our giving this year. Several have come to me and said, you know what? I never have a checkbook, or I'm involved somewhere, and I just keep forgetting. Is there ways that we can give other than that? So we're doing a couple of things new this year as it relates to our giving. One is we can put back on our site an area where you can give and set up recurring giving. If you want to do that, set that up automatically. And then also we're adding another element to our giving tier, and that is text giving. If you want to give a certain amount, it's as simple as just texting a number and the dollar amount that you would like to give. You cannot do recurring this way. And I thought this was a good time to talk about that this morning, since we don't have a lot of guests here that might come in and say, well, all they're doing is after our money. This is, just a couple of different areas to look at. There's 3 ways to give. Absolutely, you can continue writing a check and giving. We will continue to take up offering each Sunday, but if you are involved in worship or somewhere and you don't write checks hardly anymore, there's that recurring giving, and then that takes giving. And if that doesn't work, get with me or Chris, and we will find a way to give. All right, if this is
Bill pay for your bank.
yeah, you can do bill pay for your bank, those kind of things. So, just wanted to remind you of those things. Let me share with you some things that I've been looking at that I want you to begin praying about. First of all, I failed to mention, pray for me this week. I'll be leaving this week to go to a missions conference every year in January. Most every year I'm invited to a missions conference, and I'll be spending about 9 or 10 days, and I will have about 8 different services and be sharing about our church plant, our ministry, our needs. And this is always a good time to share about our ministry, increase prayer support for our ministry. But this is always a wonderful opportunity that helps Clearview Church in a lot of ways. For instance, 2 years ago when I was in this, sharing about our ministry, we were able to recruit a group of guys that came, and they were the ones that came and framed out this building for free. They saved us probably $20,000 to $25,000 in work, and then each year there is people who come alongside us and partner with us to help us in areas of ministry that I share with you. So I want to share with you some of the things that I'm going to be sharing that I want you to be praying about this particular year. As we enter into this year, we are into our 5th year of this church plant, and God has blessed us in many ways. One of the things that I have learned, I don't know if I've shared this with you. Once again, this morning I'm just talking to you. I'm not preaching. I'm just telling you the truth this morning. All right. Just kind of want to update you. Some of you got that. Yeah. Do what?
That's supposed to what you usually do.
Yeah. I knew some of you would catch that. When we came on as to plant this church with our organization, one of the things that they encourage and want you to do is they love to see you become an established, self-supporting church within 6 to 7 years. We're into our 5th year as a church. We're still a good ways away from what I would call self-supporting, but we are much closer than we've ever been, and God has blessed us. The very fact that we're in this building. I don't know how much you know about church plants, but whenever a church of 3 or 4 or 5 years old has their own building, that is significant in the process of moving toward self-supporting. That does not mean, I always am careful about that because I want to say God has blessed us. I never want to say that means that those that are not in the building, God is not blessing. It just means that God is working in our ministry a little different and on a different time span than some others. But we've made some pretty significant strides in getting to this point. But when I first started, some people told me, said, "Now, Randall, here's what you need to understand about church planting." I had some church friends or some planters, and they said, "Now, when you go plant a church, you're going to go through about 3 congregations before you get an established congregation." And what they meant was, when you start, the group that you have that starts with you on that first year, whatever that number is, that average, you're going to go through that cycle 2 times before you get a solid group of people that are going to remain with you. And we're moving in that direction. I told someone the other day, we have probably, when we began, we had about 30 people who started with us, and we have had lots of people come and go, and that was expected. We've had many more come and go, but we've had some that have been with us from the very beginning. I kind of want to just see this for a minute to kind of help you to understand. If you were here in the first few months of Clearview's existence, which would have been August of 2011, if you were with us between August 2011 and the end of 2011, raise your hand. We got my family, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 7 people that were here. Then we've had some others come in on the heels of that. This past year we've had several leave, move, various things, but we've had many more that has come. And so we're moving into that time frame where our core group and the congregation that we're going to be developing will be what will move forward as Clearview. So I want you to understand that. But there's also areas of ministry that we have that we want to develop and strengthen and improve. That this year is going to be that. One of those is, I want this year to be a year of outreach. I want this to be a year where we are focused at inviting friends, neighbors, acquaintances, and beyond that, just reaching out to people that we may not even know. That's going to come through a lot of venues. That's going to come through maybe direct mail. That's going to come through Facebook advertising. That's going to come through Easter outreach events. But let me also encourage you, the best way to do that, the number one way to get people to come to Clearview Church is through your personal engagement with them as friends and family. Just a single, simple invitation. Hey, will you come and come to church with me? We have some here today. We've had lots of people who come because they had a friend that invited them on Facebook, or that they were invited through an Easter outreach. You know, I think of Truett's family. You know, they came because they received a mailer. I may be getting a little ahead of our thing here in a minute. I think of Jeff and Tony. They came because we were in the school and we were close to them, and their kids were there, and so they thought it was, convenient. And the others, the Flanagans, they had some connections with Facebook and some invitations there. I think of Chelsea, what a blessing they have been. But just as something as simple as seeing the sign on the side of our building. I believe that's right, isn't it? Just, hey, we're going to check that church out. here's the thing, as bad as I hate to say this, people do not come to Clearview because of me or some great preacher. They are not going to come because of some great, because of a wonderful facility or anything like that. They come because of the relationships that they build in a church ministering to their needs. People want to connect to church for those couple of reasons. They have spiritual needs and awarenesses in their life that they feel like, I need help with this. And they're looking for community. They're looking for a group of people that will just connect with them and they can develop new friendships. And as such, this year, not only do I want our ministry to be focused on outreach, but in relation to that, there's an aspect of when you do outreach, there are things that once people come, get them connected. 2 or 3 things that I want to share with you, I want you to pray about this year and be aware of, and that is some areas that we're going to try to improve. Number one, we're going to try to improve our youth and children's ministry this year. I think we've got a great children's ministry, primarily our youth. That's an area. I'm thankful for David. David is working there and helping. But this year, we want to take that ministry and raise it up a level. I'm kind of interested for just a moment. How many of you are kind of where you are today? You kind of made some significant decisions in your life when you were a teenager or younger as a child. Youth ministry, youth pastors were instrumental in that. Raise your hand. All right. Several, okay? The median age here in McKinney is 34 years old, so that means houses are full of children and teenagers. And so this year we're going to kind of really focus on that, put some emphasis in that area, and try to strengthen those areas of ministry. I want you to pray about that. One of the things that we're going to be doing from a budget side of things are looking at how we can invest in that. If something is important to you, you invest in it. We're never going to be able to say youth ministry is important to us if we're not investing significant money into that. Same thing with outreach. If it's important, we're going to have to invest in that. The other areas of ministry, another area of ministry that Josh and I have been talking about that we want to improve and strengthen is our worship ministry. This year when people come in, we want the worship time to be engaging and where they feel like they're connecting with the Lord and have that opportunity. And so we're going to be looking at areas and ways to do that, and then along with our children's ministry. The other thing that I want us to really focus on this year that we've already begun to focus on is our focus groups. That is our way, Trudy, if you'll come on up, that is our way of really connecting people. And since we're primarily just our folks this morning, there are some that are not here. Let me tell you a couple of things that I think is important for us to remember. I think we do a really good job at welcoming people. And when people come in, I go talk to them and I say, well, tell me about your experience at Clearview. And they all say, everybody was so friendly. Everybody came up to me, and that's good. Let me give you a little secret about churches. Most people expect you to connect with them. They're not surprised. Do a lot of reading on church growth and connections. They're not surprised when you welcome them at the front of the service. But where lasting impressions are made in ministry is when you connect with them after the service. When everything is over and most people perceive, hey, these people are ready to leave and they're going to get out there. Am I important enough that they're going to connect with me? So several things that I want us to work on this year, myself included, is when new people come, and not just new people, our existing congregation, you guys, strengthening those relationships within our congregation. Inviting one another out to eat. You know, a new couple, hey, can I invite you to sit beside my family? would you like to go out to eat? Or next week, would you want to come over to the house for dinner and start making those connections? After 3 or 4 years, one of the challenges that we all have to worry about is there comes a time in a life of an organization where it becomes a family to the extent that almost unknowingly we become a closed group. Those that we're connected with, we're really connected with. We talk to, and we email, and we encourage, and we invite over, and if we're not careful, new people will come in and our connection spaces are filled, so we have a little more difficult time pulling them into them. I want us, myself included, I want us to really open ourselves up and say, all right, this year I want to connect with new people, new families, and really develop that relationship, not only at church, but beyond church. One of the ways that we want to do that is through our focus groups. We started those this year. I think they started out great. We've taken a break. We're going to be kind of picking up some new studies and continuing these studies through the spring. And then we'll probably take a little bit of a break and a change in the summer and pick back up. The focus groups are small. Many of you are connected with our focus groups, but not all. And I began to think about just kind of promoting those, and I thought about Truett. Truett and I have had a lot of conversations, and Truett is connected with a lot of our focus groups at different levels. And I just asked Truett if he would be willing to kind of share a few things about his journey in focus groups. So I wanted to ask Truett, kind of tell us a little bit about how long you've been at Clearview and kind of your journey here, or what brought you here.
Randall's always good at putting us on the spot. Some of us are better able to handle it, but I always like these extemporaneous moments. We moved here to McKinney in 2011, and we became affiliated with the church because, as he mentioned, a mailer, but also because our children were going to McClure Elementary, where they had just started. So we've been here for approximately 4 years, just a little over 4 years. We started about November of 2011.
And so prior to coming to Clearview, had you ever had much involvement in other ministries? I'll never forget the first Sunday that Truett came. I met him at the door and I began to talk to him. I said, now tell me, he told me he had moved here, and I said, where'd you move from? He said, well, we used to go to Max Lucado's church. How many of you are familiar with Max Lucado? So I said, well, you're in for a big letdown today. I said, we're nothing like Max Lucado's church. But apparently, the Lord used our ministry to connected with Truett. But, prior to Clearview, had you been involved in very many, small groups?
Well, we've really only been involved in two. And as you said, one of them was at Max Lucado's church. And because my wife and I were relatively new with our marriage, they had a great marriage program. And so my wife and I, Donna, who's not here today because we have workers at our home, we went to a program there. And that was a really good program to help us just overcome some differences in our relationship and really become more equally yoked as best we could at that point in time. And then also, before we ever moved away, there was a church, Ed Young's church, Fellowship Church in Grapevine. Once I had recommitted my life to Christ, there was a ministry for newcomers, for new believers, and it was a good program. So prior to coming here, I really don't have been involved in two.
So since you've been with us for the last 4 years, and our small group ministry has kind of transitioned from time to time, what groups have you been involved in, I guess, and not only involved in, but how has being connected with these small groups helped you personally, and maybe you and your family?
Well, I've been involved in two, really, the men's studies as well as the adult Bible studies. With respect to the adult Bible studies, which are husband and wife, and even our children were coming over to the Testament's home. We did a study on True You, which was really transitioning the children from high school going to college and being in a domain of non-believers and really how to stay fast with your faith in Christ. And we just completed the Truth Project. I guess it was sometime towards the middle of this last summer. The adult ones have been really good. for me in maintaining that quality in my family. But the men's studies have really been my passion. We've gone through several books. We did The Love Dare, we did Gary Hughes' Disciplines of a Godly Man. And right now we're working on Steve Farrar's book, I forget the name. Point Man, but it's how to lead your family, as the head of the household, as a husband. And so the men's Bible studies for me have really been good on developing relationships with men. And we all have similar experiences. And it's really good to have that deep, intimate level of conversation and to discuss these things so that we can be better leaders of our families. And so developing these relationships within the church body has really been instrumental and helped me to grow stronger in my faith, but also to develop tightened relationships with our church body.
Sure, if somebody's here and they're not connected, and thinking about it or kind of, thought about it once upon a time, what would you